In our ministry, we stress several things that we believe are a priority for chaplains, especially those who are unapologetically Christian chaplains. It's worth reviewing them here. First, we never lose our focus on the gospel, but we're also never engaged in proselytizing. We only share when God opens the door and we're invited to do so. We serve and we love all people, all people. Being Christian does not mean that we only work with Christians. And the ministry of presence is the most important task we do. We bring the sacred presence into our encounters, and this should lead to a place of peace and calm. And we're interested in the person's story, genuinely interested in the person and their life experience and faith, their story. And we learn to ask seriously curious questions and let them talk things out. It's amazing how often they will talk themselves right into a solution and reach a place of peace and be able to make decisions by simply encouraging them to talk about the important and emotional things they're experiencing that others may not give them permission to talk about. And we become expert in matters of faith, spirituality, belief systems, culture, psychology, and theology. We're also skilled in communication with both individuals and groups. We truly listen to understand and facilitate understanding between people. The concept of communication is to reach a shared understanding. And we also focus on outcomes rather than methods, and we learn to follow processes and use assessments that are a good fit for our unique setting. Chaplain assessments are more like a map than they are a GPS. It's not based on some step-by-step guide, a process that is the only way to a destination. No, it's really more of an open, old-fashioned map, and each course with every patient or client must be uniquely plotted as you engage with your client in ways appropriate for them. So just be yourself, but document your work carefully. There should be measurable results from your work. We also build community around our mission and work because, well, the truth is, there will never be enough money to hire enough chaplains in your setting or any other setting to do the work that is needed. Therefore, we need a community of people of faith who will join us as volunteers in our work. This implies ever always teaching others in how to serve. And what is discipleship if not this? You need to mentor others who may join you to magnify the result of your work, and this is rooted in the concept of disciple making. Effective Christian chaplains never lose focus on the mission that's given to all of us by Christ himself. Making disciples, well, that implies multiplication. Now, there are 3 steps required in effective discipleship. Teach them what and tell them why, followed by show them how and do it with them, and then send them out, deploy them to do that very thing. Now, most of us completely miss the step of showing them how and doing it with them. I believe that if you concentrate on these priorities while you're staying in your lane, you will be an absolutely excellent chaplain. Our chaplains serve in many settings, and there is no one-size-fits-all spiritual assessment. You need to come up with one that works for you within your giftings, and also appropriate for your setting, while helping others learn how to serve alongside you. Now, generally, we recommend that you avoid too much structure and be less focused on research. We prefer an approach that has some structure, but also favors conversation and relationship building. We teach our chaplains to be minimally directing and simply respond to the statements made by the client with good follow-up questions that allows the conversation and the relationship to go deeper. Let them drive the bus, not you. Play ball in your encounters. You toss the ball with the question. You listen carefully for their answer and then toss the ball back with a follow-up question on something that they said. Stay on their train of thought. Document your observations with good notes on a form that works for you. Please, pay careful attention to the current movement in secular chaplaincy to conflate the terms spiritual, emotional, and relational as if somehow they were the same thing. They're not. Think of it this way. Mental health can certainly have an impact on emotions and relationships, right? And treatment for mental disorders and chemical imbalances can be prescribed by a mental health professional. Likewise, biomedical or physical health will also have an impact on a person's emotions and their relationships. These types of illnesses are treated by a properly trained medical professional. But spiritual health, that also impacts a person's emotions, their relationships, and also their approach to some expression of religion. Like the mind and body are separate but related, so also the spirit is separate but related to the whole. A humanist and an atheist chaplain, they simply do not understand the term spiritual, at least in the same way that we do, and any implication that being restored to a right relationship with God is important, well, that's rejected in an increasing number of chaplain settings today. Many chaplains have great difficulty defining what do they mean by the word spiritual or pastoral. Therefore, you are asked to define these clearly for yourselves. Be careful that you do not let others sway you from your sincerely held beliefs. You do not need to conform to their worldview. And also, they are prohibited from proselytizing or forcing their view on you. The code of conduct that they subscribe to prohibits this, and you have the right to ask them to stop attempting to force you to embrace beliefs that are simply not biblical. But be respectful. Stand your ground. Let me remind you of the understanding and the definition that's shared in our first lecture regarding spiritual life and what spiritual care is within a Christian worldview. The Scripture teaches that God created each human being, breathed life and a spirit into each person, and every person will exist beyond death in only one of two places. The place of eternity is determined by their standing and their relationship with God. Therefore, spiritual and a right relationship with God is at the heart of the Christian understanding of spirituality. Our work as chaplains should contribute to whole person care as a member of the team. In the treatment of mind, body, and spirit, we focus on spiritual matters. A person's spiritual life is multidimensional, and though we view spirit as something of eternal significance, spiritual life will manifest itself now in either healthy or unhealthy ways in their emotions, their social life, and their religious life. In our work, we make a diagnosis of spiritual health in these three areas. In our remaining time, let me focus on the importance of hospitality. Now, why is that? Because it builds community, and community builds relationships, and relationships produce the outcomes that we look for in chaplaincy. Research work is important and necessary, but truly effective chaplaincy is built on relationships, and this requires community, which is built through the offer of hospitality. Please read the PDF document summarizing the teaching of Henry Nouwen on hospitality. It's contained in your weekly assignment. He writes about vulnerability and experience of God and spiritual life. True hospitality is welcoming the stranger on their terms. This kind of hospitality can only be offered by those who found the center of their lives in their own hearts and they're comfortable. As keepers of the sacred presence, the occupier of our hearts should make us the most hospitable people on earth. Good statement to remember about hospitality is this: people will go where they're invited, but they will stay where they're well treated. As stated throughout our approach to CPE, our chaplains do not lean forward, press in, wag their fingers, or point out failures and shortcomings. Rather, what we do is we lean back, sitting with them in a comfortable chair, and just invite them into a conversation. We treat them with love and respect, all people. We let them talk things out and we offer them encouragement. If we offer hospitality in every part of our work as a chaplain, then the resulting relationships will produce amazing results. Hospitality is applicable to your work as chaplains, especially in the context of building relationships that can produce welcoming environments for your patients, your clients, your families, and the people you work with, while connecting them to other people of faith. Hospitality produces an environment that encourages community. The goal of hospitality is illustrated as a movement between two poles. Spiritual life is a constant movement between the poles of loneliness and solitude, hostility and hospitality, illusion and prayer, God and self. The more we come to the painful confession of loneliness, hostility, and illusions and seek God, the more we are able to see solitude, hospitality, and effective prayer as part of the vision for our life. This movement cannot take place outside of a trusted and caring relationships that are centered on the chaplain's personal relationship with God. This is why the ministry of chaplains is to be the keeper of the sacred presence, and helping others learn to do the same as part of being a disciple. Hospitality expects community. In an article written by Robert Gallagher discussing Nouwen's approach to hospitality, he said, "In our world full of strangers, estranged from their own past, culture, and country, from their neighbors, friends, and family, from their deepest self and their God, we witness a painful search for a hospitable place where life can be lived without fear and where community can be found. Hospitality, therefore, means primarily the creation of a free space where the stranger can enter and become a friend instead of an enemy. Hospitality is not to change people, but to offer them a space where change can take place. And this should be a priority for chaplains. The motto of our ministry summarizes it this way. We like to say, make a friend, be a friend, and draw your friend to Christ. And you may have to be a friend for a long time before you ever earn the right to share your faith, and you might not earn that right, and that's okay. Hospitality is essential in bringing people together for safe, loving, and caring relationships. That's a key to our success. Therefore, hospitality must become a priority. The result of truly effective community of volunteers is to produce an environment where individuals may move from a position of hostility to a participant in hospitality. This is described as a movement, and it's expected to happen in the context of caring relationships. The movement from hostility to hospitality includes moving from the impatient, frustrated, busy, rushed, fearful, aggressive, and passive to receptive, safe boundaries, to questions, and to experimentation without fear, to openness while honoring uniqueness. Moving from life being too crowded with things to do, events, expectations, pressures, and stress, to touching issues of pain and death with compassion. Moving from running away from pain and death, stillness and silence, to seeing community as a space where people might be changed. Moving from seeing new people as a danger to the way we are, or to be used for their needs rather than for our own needs. To a defined culture of genuine caring, a sense of belonging to a community of faith. Moving from a lack of ability to manage disagreements and conflict and tough decisions to receptivity and confrontation, acceptance and challenge. And so, be sure to build a faith community around your mission as a chaplain, the kind that will produce relationships through genuine hospitality. And you, dear chaplain, be hospitable to all people so that you can show others what genuine hospitality actually looks like.